I'm Jen Casey, and it's an absolute pleasure to be here with you today to speak about the new Cambridge Humanities series. I'm going to speak a little bit about the visible thinking routines that we've included throughout the series, particularly in relation to the economics and business and civics and citizenship sections. The thinking routines that we've included, many of you will be familiar with. They're from the Harvard University's Project Zero group. I'd encourage you to, if you'd like to learn more about them, I'd encourage you to visit the Harvard website to learn a little bit more. But in short, visible thinking routines are engaging classroom activities, challenge students to reflect on and articulate their thinking about a prompt or source material, which we know is the core of so many of our subjects. It's responding to source material. It's making it about authentic learning experiences that have to do with the world around them, because student outcomes are so much improved when they are about real life experiences and they can see how what they're studying relates to real life and real world experiences, which is why I think it has a real democratising effect on student learning. We also know that students learn a lot when they get to talk to each other about topics rather than us talking at them or to them, but when they have an opportunity to learn from each other, as well as being able to see what they're learning, they can really take control over their own learning and become really empowered learners. I've got an example here from one of the chapter starters. It's one of my favourites. It's where we have Harry and Meghan when they visited Australia earlier last year, and it discusses the kinds of choices that consumers make based on the influence of celebrities and social media influencers. This is something that our students are all really familiar with, but the extent to which they will have thought about it deeply is questionable, which is why we have a Making Thinking Visible exercise there, and that they can start to think about the kinds of questions that they have about the topic. So this is intended to operate as a bit of a hook at the start of each topic to get them really interested in the chapter and generate discussion. There are lots of different, it's basically to flesh out the prompts that we've provided at the start of each chapter, so they get a bit of an idea of what they're going to be learning about and what interests them about what they're going to be learning about. These can be used by teachers in a multitude of ways. They're embedded throughout the series, so not just in these starter sections. They can be used to introduce a topic, like here with the compass points, to get students to analyse an image, or for example, the image above here. We can get them to work in pairs or groups to encourage students to craft a written response, or to get them engaged in debate, depending on how lively your cohort is. By using the same routines sort of over and over, students can develop a real familiarity with them and confidence with the rules of the activity. It's also something that's consistent across the 4 topics covered in the series, so it really helps to tie the humanities and social sciences together in that way as well. They are embedded in each chapter. The authors were given really free rein to include them where they thought they could be useful. That said, you can absolutely adapt them to different scenarios depending on your class or the thinking routines that you're more comfortable with or think that your class would enjoy. The authors have used each of the routines in different ways depending on the chapter content. So they are included. Here's an example of where it's included in the middle of a chapter. It's also included at the end of each chapter. So the idea is that hopefully students will become familiar with these routines and engaged by them. Ideally, these activities get students to think more deeply about the material that they're accessing and articulate their thinking in a way that will give them access to metacognition, which hopefully leads to deeper understanding of the content and more authentic learning. Look, they're considered a tried and true series of teaching strategies that have been proven to work time and time again. They really are, we know that Making Thinking Visible is a powerful tool. They have been around for a little while, so embedding them in the chapters and at the end of the chapters, we hope is another tool that you'll be able to add to your toolbox as a teacher. Here's another one at the end of the section review. Another Think, Pair, Share, which is, of course, that that many of you will have done already, but to have it there, I think, especially for new teachers, might help give you a bit of confidence, or if you're not as familiar with the content material. Look, at the end of the day, we really hope that you like the approach that we've taken, and that your students find these activities be really approachable, and that it helps develop their engagement with and understanding of the chapter content.